The saga between Sneako and Moist Critical finally came to an end. And we got to talk about it because there's some things said here that I found extremely interesting with regards to this back and forth. If you haven't been keeping up, more or less, Sneako and one of the biggest YouTubers, Moist Critical, have been beefing. They finally got a conversation in, a face-to-face over the phone conversation, which I thought went really well. And I wanted to react to it. I'm reacting to Jamari's video because I think he did a good job of kind of summarizing all of it. So let's jump in.
It looks like the Moist Critical versus Sneako beef might be finally coming to an end. And I have to say that this situation was pretty entertaining.
By the way,
had your kids, had your wife.
Explicit.
Along the way. But now the two men have come together for a final hour-long conversation, and while they might not have agreed about almost anything, they at the very least were able to have a somewhat reasonable conversation where they got to dive into greater detail about their positions on various topics like Cuties, Fresh and Fit, college, the top G, and even the difference between the public perception and brand that is Sneako versus Penguinz. So first off, they discussed the film Cuties, and the conversation here basically came down to the fact that Charlie sees the movie as immoral because they decided to use and depict actual children in a sexual manner, whereas Sneako comes from a place where he defends the art and the message behind the film.
That movie was taken out of context quite a bit. People don't really see the moral of the movie, which is defending Islamic values, and also pointing out the very real problem that young girls have going on social media and doing these dances. I agree that it's disgusting. I agree that those scenes are repulsive, but I think you can be repulsed by TikTok and pretty much what young girls are doing on social media every single day as well. I think that people outraged at that film should also be outraged at everything that girls are doing now on Instagram, TikTok, and all these apps.
Sneako makes this point over and over again, even saying that back when he had TikTok, every time he got on, all he saw was young girls doing inappropriate things.
I don't have TikTok on my phone, but once in a while before I was banned, I would go on there, and the first 3 videos would be the same thing that you see on Cuties. And that's why I uninstalled the app. That's why I refuse to have it on my phone, because it's directing you to those images.
Now, I don't know about y'all, but I've been on short-form platforms thousands of times at this point, and can't remember ever really seeing any content, appropriate or not, that was made by children. Does the algorithm not feed you what they think?
So, Sneako's point on Cuties is an interesting point. He likes the message of the film, where Penguin's point is, or Moist Critical's point is that, well, they should never use real girls to depict all the weird stuff that was going on, even if there's a good moral to the story. I think this is, and Sneako conceded that they could have done that without using real children, right?
Will naturally keep you.
It actually kids more because we start to mature high schoolers, and like in 13 Reasons Why, it actually, when they use 30-year-olds and 27-year-olds to play high schoolers, like in Euphoria and like in 13 Reasons Why, it actually kids more because we start to mature high schoolers and we think of them in a different way. People in their 30s and their late 20s get addicted to Euphoria, and they have ideas and they start romanticizing teenagers in a different way because they don't use actors in that way, and they make them look more mature.
I also think that point is pretty crazy as well. I just don't think anyone's going to become Matthew McConaughey overnight, all because they watch Euphoria. Like, if they're already in that thought process, they were likely already on that type of creep shit. Either way, by the end of this conversation, Charlie got Sneako to come around to the point that the film should have either used adult actors and not made the film be as sexualized.
So there's 2 ways the movie could have been changed to be more effective and that people would understand the message. 1, they could have used child actors and they should not have been sexualized in that way. Or 2, they could have been 18 plus and it could have been sexualized, but then it wouldn't have been as effective.
It wouldn't have been as effective. That's his argument for the Cuties thing. I don't think that movie ever needed to get made that way.
2 should have changed. I agree.
So then can we then say, since this film sexualized children, I can't really champion the film. However, the message is okay. Like, I like the message.
I agree completely. But the reason I defend that movie is because I think everybody just saw those scenes and looked past the message and looked past the good moral that the director had when making it.
Then they move on to a conversation about wokeness, where Sneako says that liberal ideology is the biggest problem plaguing our society.
Wokeness is, the liberal ideology is feelings over facts. I identify this way because I feel like it is, there's no gender, nothing matters, I do as I want, everything that's promoted on social media.
Do you realize half of what you just described is how you've lived your life for the last year? Like feelings over facts, for example. And after talking to Sneako, it became clear that he really lives his life fearful of wokeness. He is constantly haunted by the woke boogeyman, like he's trapped in Luigi's mansion, but every ghost is woke. It's one of those things where every topic we started talking about always tied back to either cancellation or wokeness, which I think is pretty sad to be in that state of, I guess, unease, where he's always feeling as though woke is breathing down his neck. It's haunting his dreams like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, that's the grift that most...
I mean, he makes a point there, right? And this is where a lot of the red pill creators kind of fall, is that instead of promoting and this influences Christian creators as well, don't get it twisted. It's way easier making content about the things you're against and all things wrong with the world instead of making content that actually packages the things you're for and people should be doing, or what you're value add to the world. So if you notice, a lot of the content that goes crazy is dunking on the other side, right?
Most people in these circles like to play like they're constantly being canceled, when the reality of the situation is that whenever you and your content become super politically charged, you are naturally going to become polarizing,
Right.
and the other side that feels just as passionate as you do about the opposite talking points will hate you to the point where they want to silence your thoughts because they're extremist in their mindset just like you.
Right.
You definitely see this on both sides as they celebrate and champion when someone they don't like gets banned.
And here's the truth, man. Hey, you want to see something crazy? 67% of the people who watch this channel are not subscribed. Do me a quick favor, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you stay up to date on all the videos here on the Blessed God Studios channel. As someone who is neither far right nor far left, both the left and the right in terms of folks I interact with like on the phone and in real life, think I'm on the other side. It's a losing war, right? Like you can't be sensible in this regard. Meaning that like all of my friends that tend to be more liberal in their ideology or the political thing think I'm like super far right because I'm pro-life. Like I've literally had friends tell me like you're fringe, you're a fringe Marxist. I'm just gonna be you're a fringe right winger. Like fringe because I'm pro-life? Like because I didn't think Roe v. Wade getting overturned was a bad thing. I'm fringe right. And then my friends who are on the right think that I'm a Marxist. You could look this up. I've literally had people tell me I'm a Marxist because I think that there's something to racism being real and affecting our systems in society, whether that's the disproportionate nature of how houses are appraised different between black and white families, right? The impacts of the war on drugs on black families, like all these different things. And my conclusion will always be the same. Don't wait for the government to give you reparations. Don't try to think that Uncle Sam's going to take care of you. He's not. The government doesn't care. He'll never come around, right? The only out you have is to fix your own life in your own community, right? And that take, which I still think is a conservative take, right? I still think it's a conservative take, will get me labeled as a Marxist. So it's definitely both on both, which is why I hate talking about this stuff. Right? Like it's so unnecessary because you can't just have a sensible position. You can't just be like, well, yeah, that's a libertarian take. Yeah, I mean, I guess it is. Libertarian would probably be the thing I'm closest in terms of politics or whatever.
I feel like it really just comes with the political commentary territory. They then spend the next 20 minutes or so debating about Fresh and Fit and the idea that Sneako feels like Charlie owes Froggy an apology because he made fun of one of his stupid exaggerated stories.
Because you don't correct your mistakes. You were wrong about Fresh and Fit. You were wrong about Andrew Tate, and
So-
you were wrong about the movie Cuties.
Charlie then goes on to call out the hypocrisy of Sneako and the way he likes to victimize himself and always make it look like people are out to get him. Basically saying that he is the epitome of that meme where the person puts a stick in their own bicycle spoke and then wants to blame someone else when they fall off their bike.
I've become a caricature on YouTube rather than somebody who has something to say. I've become a meme because I am banned. That's not...
And Sneako apologizing, I think, was a good thing. That's how this all came about. Sneako apologized. But he still consistently seems to lack the level of self-awareness of like, bro, you were an interesting creator and then you pivoted over to some of this stuff and became more polarizing and more popular, but you also kind of played yourself.
Victimizing, that's actively pointing out how strong censorship is and how people on mainstream platforms can run with the narrative when you're not there.
The way you just justified it is a way many other people that you call playing the victim would also be able to justify things. The point is, when you are constantly whining and talking about how you're being attacked, it is still being victimized. I tried to point a mirror at him to point out that a lot of the things he criticizes others for is things that he actively does himself, and the one I focused on was victimization, because the way he justifies, playing the victim is justification people have used in the past that he calls out.
So yeah, getting this guy to see himself in the wrong or take a hint of accountability is almost like pulling teeth. And not only do these figures tend to defend themselves like this, but they will also defend anyone in their camp who all agree with the same talking points. It's the same reason these red pill guys champion this chick Pearl, who they would all roast endlessly if she wasn't overdosed on the red pill.
And Pearl just jumped out the window and took a massive L with regards to sitting down with Nick Fuentes and laughing at a bunch of this stuff while primarily having a black staff and a black audience, just like completely tone deaf, right? And then, cancel culture, the mob, so on and so forth. It's like, look, a lot of this stuff is self-imposed. A lot of Andrew Tate's issues are self-imposed. A lot of Sneako's issues are self-imposed. A lot of Fresh and Fit's issues are self-imposed.
it's disingenuous. And now we're having a debate, but you would rather DM and go and make this about drama. Oh, let me go and react and do more drama content rather than have a conversation.
But I never did that.
Doing it now.
But you have to remember that I didn't start any of this. You reacted to me telling jokes about your friend and then had your audience tell me, and that went on for like 2 weeks. And so eventually I explained why I don't like you. And then when I did that, that was the only time I planned on talking about you. You went on stream with your gun to threaten me, and you kept it up for 3 months, adding me.
I didn't do that to threaten you.
That was the whole Clips versus Mags debacle.
Joke about Clips. You actually think I was threatening you?
I don't think you were actually coming after my life. It doesn't change the fact that for 3 months you continued to carry it on. I wasn't reacting to you. I wasn't even talking about you.
So yeah, Sneako was somehow trying to once again twist himself into the victim when he's going on and on for months, posting pictures and talking shit about Charlie, and then he wants to turn around and act like Charlie's the one that created this beef. Penguinz then goes on to call him a hypocrite once again, because Sneako calls him weak for not wanting to box, but then turns around and ducks Brandon Buckingham. Sneako's response to this is basically that Brandon does not have enough clout, and that this fight would basically be a waste of his time, even saying that Brandon is obsessed with him.
I don't care about this person, and that there's no benefit for me to take my first fight with this person.
They then go on to have a debate about the whole guru/influencer life.
So he says, the interesting thing about the Brandon Buckingham, which by the way, Brandon Buckingham made a scathing video on Sneako and kind of opened up Pandora's box for all that, is he says, if there's no benefit for me, why would I box the person? That's exactly the reason why Charlie or Moist Critical didn't want to have a celebrity boxing match with you. He's half a foot shorter than you, right?
Style. Sneako's stance is that Charlie doesn't do enough to motivate his audience and build them up to be better people, and Charlie's stance is that just because Sneako flexes his money and wealth doesn't make him some sort of savior for men, and that he's basically stuck in a permanent grift because it validates the feelings of the people who gravitate towards his type of content.
You going and flexing on your audience isn't showing them what's possible, it's showing what's possible when they're paying for your lifestyle. The advice you give, you thrive off them staying miserable, right? The second they get happy, the second they get money,
No,
the second
I definitely don't.
they will not be paying for your course
if
anymore.
If my audience does not get value from my content, they're going to leave. The reality is that streamers and content creators like you, the audience always grows up. They watch a little bit of the gaming content, then they grow up. They're not learning anything, and so they go to another content creator. They go to somebody else who's popular or trendy. You need to add value to the audience, or else they are going to grow out of it.
And the value of most things is entertainment. What you used to do was humor interlaced with your stuff. Now it's just preaching to the choir of people that already subscribe to your hive mind.
They then get into a discussion of what Charlie truly stands for, and he basically says that he wants people to be happy, and that he wants people to at least be informed that being healthy will likely lead to a more positive life existence. This is when Sneako has the audacity to say that his course he sells for $50 a month is more valuable than a college education.
Then they never talk about how college is a waste of time and that people go into $50,000 to $100,000 in debt for people who aren't vetted millionaires. If you can pay $50 and talk to a vetted millionaire who has made money online in a way that they don't teach in school, $50 is a steal. People get really upset about this because you're paying somebody directly and you know who you're spending the money on. You don't get upset about college because you don't know the principal, you don't know the headmaster, you don't know the donors. They're nameless people behind a university.
And this is the problem with a lot.
The issue with this is that for a lot of people generalize the device isn't helpful, whether that's paying $50 a month for a course or whether that's paying $100,000 a month for college. Because if it's too generalized, it may not benefit you. I can't give I could give you my system. I give you my process, which by the way, we have a course, but the difference between my course is the people that actually implement and do what I say get results. You don't guarantee that everyone's going to be a millionaire or 100,000 or whatever, because you can't make those promises. So I deter people away from that. Where Sneako is like, yeah, you know, my course, verified millionaire, yada, yada, yada. He's 24. He's 24.
These types of guys is that they seem to think that only individuals who have acquired wealth during their lifetime are like the only people worth listening to. The sheer idea that everyone can now be an internet entrepreneur millionaire is a plague to our society and truly a pipe dream. Yes, college is way too expensive, but these guys who have never taken one class in their life always like to act like they know everything about it. And
and shout out to the Renaissance man. He says, having done both, I'd say online course has more value than college, especially if you know what you want to do. Yeah, I think it can, but when I was in college, I went to Maricosta College, which is out here in Oceanside. And Maricosta College has a satellite campus in Rancho Santa Fe, which is one of the most expensive places to live. And because community colleges are funded by real estate, my junior college experience was incredible because I was taking music classes and philosophy classes and logic classes from real practitioners and real folks with Grammys on their wall, right? And so my college experience was great too, you know, because I went to a really good community college that was funded by the most expensive area to live in Southern California. So
college bad talking points are all centered around the idea that if a job can't make you extremely wealthy, then it must not be worth your time. What Sneako fails to realize is that he is a 1 in a million story that's not going to be replicated easily. And a whole lot of it comes down to luck, persistence, and straight up being born at the right time in history.
What just happened there is I was talking about something and you went into PR speak and salesman mode to talk about your course. And you attributed something to me that I actually talk against. I actually have spoken many times about why college just isn't right for everybody. It's not. It simply isn't. I think college provides an invaluable social experience where for the first first time in your life you're on your own, so you learn how to fend for yourself, you learn how to interact with roommates, strangers, so you get social skills. But college is not going to be a great fit for everyone, especially when it comes to certain academia positions, especially like in some art fields. I actually talk a lot about that, but you keep lumping me in with this perception of a gamer and these beliefs that you don't know anything about me on, and yet you still put me in there.
And then you should probably make it more clear.
I do.
I've been personally watching your videos for years, and I had no idea about any of this.
So,
I've seen you gaming. I've seen you react to drama content. I didn't know that was your method to make people happy.
The other thing is that Sneako seems to think that everyone online needs to make all of their opinions known and take a strong stance on every topic that crosses their desk. He can't comprehend the idea that some people online want to keep their content light and more for just general entertainment.
The only thing that ever leaves his mouth is always preaching about something or trying to make a big statement about their beliefs or their politics, whereas that's not me. The main thing I focus on is just entertainment. My videos are made purely for fun. It's just because I thought it'd be entertaining, it's a silly topic, it's something fun, and that's it. There's never really anything too much deeper. Unless it's a topic I'm covering that I'm passionate about or I have something more I want to add on to it about my own personal beliefs, then I do. I'm never afraid to. But it's not all I talk about, whereas for Sneako and a lot of people in his circle, their main content is talking about what they believe, whereas my main thing is just making entertaining shit.
It's like the idea of escapism through entertainment is completely foreign to him.
And here's the thing. Most people on YouTube are making entertainment. It's an entertainment platform. Real practitioners, let's just say you want to be a multimillionaire. Real practitioners are really out there making millions with their product and not selling you a product on how to, right? Like they're actually doing it. There's a handful. There's a few exceptions to the rule. Again, Alex Hermosi would be one of them. And I think his course is free, right? And so like real therapists don't usually make content because they're actively sitting with patients. You see what I'm saying? And so like a lot of what this is entertainment. And that's okay. There's a time and a place for entertainment. The entertainment is fine. The entertainment, to keep things light, to keep things interesting, it's okay to have a segment of that stuff for you, right? And if the entertainment can be, this is kind of a spoken word type of term, edutainment, it could entertain you and give you some inspiration to go do some stuff in your life, that's okay, right? That's okay. People play video games, people be in bowling leagues, some people watch Moist Critical for whatever videos he makes. That's okay too. The issue becomes is when folks anchor their entire online persona as being some sort of teacher. Oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes, they actually aren't qualified to talk about the very things that they think they're talking about. We just experienced that with the conversation of the red pill space, always talking, and there's a reason why I'm bringing this up, because Sneako's in this red pill whole space about, you know, the truth about women. None of these guys are in happy relationships. None of these guys are married. None of these guys have families, right? They're just regurgitating ideas over and over, the same talking points, the same statistics, but very few of them have lived out a healthy, happy marriage. And so, but they're giving relationship advice. And I pointed that out the other day with Melanie King and her talking about these things while quoting Bible verses at someone while not being in a stable marriage, actually being divorced and a single mom. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's inconsistent. And so like, consume whatever you want to consume, but be sober about what this is. This isn't, Sneako's not educating you. Andrew Tate's not educating you. He's being disruptive. He's being provocative. He's being interesting on purpose. You follow what I mean? So anyway, chat, how you guys doing? Anyway, I'm glad they talked. I think that's a massive W. I'm glad they had that conversation. I really would love to see the power of Jesus transform Sneako and Charlie's life and compel them to re-examine everything a little differently, right? Because I do think that entertainment from a Christian worldview is very necessary. Entertainment from the church is super powerful. And entertainment from thought leaders that are aligned and following Jesus. It doesn't even have to be overtly Christian entertainment all the time. I think is extremely is extremely necessary in this time and space that we're in.
Hey, this clip is from our daily after party stream. If you enjoyed it, consider signing up for our Patreon community for only $5 a month, where you get access to the replays of our daily after party streams, as well as the uncut extended versions of our podcast, Discord access that's private, and a discount code for our merch store, only $5 a month. And ultimately, it's the best way to help us contextualize the gospel of Jesus using media, podcasting, and of course, YouTube. The link for that is in the description or in the pinned comment. Promise you, the perks are amazing. You should get on there. It's only $5 a month. I'll see you over there, all right? Peace.